Barry, how did you end up with Strand Belle?
Well, a good friend of mine, Murray Sheehan in Melbourne at Essendon, he owned her, and he bred 1 litter out of her. He raced her and bred 1 litter out of her, and then he found it too much in town to breed a litter, and he offered it to me for breeding, which was a big boost for me. Yeah.
Were you known for your Mepunga dogs yet? Like, where were you at there?
No, we weren't calling dogs Mepunga then. It was right in the early days when we started. It was probably, I was only into it probably 2 to 3 years when Murray offered it to me, and we took her and went on from there. Her lines have come right through to Mepunga Blazer and Cruiser and right through. So she was a big part in the breeding. Yeah.
Tell me about her racing career.
Yeah, well, that's 50 years ago or so, but I'd say I know she was a very top class sprinter and stayer, and she was a very small dog. From memory, what was she? I think she would have only been about 22 or 24 kilos, very small. She won a Gold Cup in Sydney at Wentworth Park over the distance, and she'd match it with any dog going at that time. She was a special dog.
Can you talk me through some of her most successful offspring in the early days to start off with?
Yeah, well, Murray bred a litter by Pied Rebel, and they were very handy dogs. And then when I got her, I put her to Newmore King, and we finished up with some very, very handy dogs. Mystic Strand, who I raced myself, she won a Sandown distance, and she was probably in the top 3 or 4 stayers in Melbourne. The Mepunga line started up late in time, but I had Mystic Strand and bred from her. Then I had a bitch called Mystic Therese, and she threw Mepunga Blaze, who started things off in '99. He won the Derby in Sydney. And then we come down to Mepunga Anna, and she threw Mepunga Diamond. It was by Brett Lee. And then we got Mepunga Nikki, of course, and we all know what Nikki did. She was brilliant on the racetrack and as a brood bitch. And there come Mepunga Blazer and Cruiser come from Nikki. So that line, you're looking at a 50-year line of breeding there. And in those lines, you've got a heap of Group 1s that were there too.
Now, last of all, what has Strand Belle done for your career as a breeder?
Well, I guess she's one of the lines that's put me on the map. Without her, I probably wouldn't have had the class dogs that we've been lucky enough to get over the years. Like, as I say, we've got 2 lines going, and they're both throwing very good dogs, top liners at the moment. And she's that right-hand line, and the other line, of course, is the Mias and Rosies and all their pups.
Now, Neil, can you talk me through Strand Belle's racing career for those who may not be aware of what she did on the track?
Yeah, she was a high-quality stayer, a little black bitch. She raced in the 70s, and in those days, the staying ranks were as deep as the sprinting ranks. There was pretty much even in those times. She raced the very best stayers of that era. Bunyip Bint and Zoom Top. Sally Ella is another top class greyhound. Little Paul's Thunder was a champion here in Victoria. I saw her race and win at Olympic Park and at Sandown Park, and she won a big feature race in New South Wales. So she was a really high quality greyhound. She was bred in the purple. She was by Takiri from Lara Matique, from a fantastic litter. And Lara Matique had very successful pups to a couple of sires, Takiri and Blacktop. So, yeah, she was destined to be a good race dog, and she was raced by Murray Sheehan and trained by Murray and trained by Freddie Garbutt for a small period of time as well. But yeah, she was a great little racer. She won the 1971 Wentworth Park Gold Cup, which was a big feature race in New South Wales at the time.
Is there anyone you can compare her to in today's era? It does sound like she had a bit of versatility about her as well.
Yeah, look, she'd be in the top ranked 4 or 5 stayers racing today. She was more a front running type of bitch. Got to the front and as I say, raced the best, and they were very hard to beat in those days.
Can you tell me what impact she had on breeding? We're talking a couple of years down the track, but what impact has she had on breeding here in Victoria, especially?
Oh, I would rate it probably the leading brood bitch for the period of time we're talking about. As we all probably know, to last a 50-year period is near impossible, and she's probably the only one that's been able to do that. In fact, it's hard to say how long the line will last, given that Mepunga blazes a leading sire now, and the line seems endless. No small part played by Barry Smith here. Barry's a wonderful breeder. He's a Hall of Famer, as we know, and the pups that he rears and prepares for racing, I don't think we can undersell how Barry has played a part in this line. But to keep it going, her line has been able to throw to a multitude of top sires, imports and local. It's all come the same. We've only got two other brood bitches in the Hall of Fame. We Sell, a wonderful line, and Leprechaun Miss, and I probably personally rate Strand Belle just above those two lines. But it's a long time to be a success, isn't it? 50 years.
Absolutely. Neil, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate the kind words and the insight into what Strand Belle did on the racetrack, as well as in the breeding barn.
Thank you very much, Molly. Pleasure.